Left, your left, hey. Left, right, your left. You got it.
Truck it on.
Doctors, roll out. You're watching or listening to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. We the people, the People's Patriot Project.
Looking for a place to put your skill set, your thoughts, and ideas, or want to help continue the mission? You have come to the right place. We are the People's Patriot Project, and we are the shock and awe when it comes to meeting the needs of our veterans and first responders. We are dealing with a new enemy in today's world where the wounds are not always seen. We want you to be a part of this mission in saving lives and making a difference. Welcome to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. Here's the WeP3 Team bringing you today's best heroes hits in the boots on the ground organizations that are saving lives. And as always, Patriot Pride.
Left, your left, hey. Left, right, your left. You got it.
Truck it on.
Hello, Andrea Eichmann here tonight with the People's Patriot Project. We're bringing you our weekly show / podcast called We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. Every week we bring you a guest. Many times we bring you music, and this week we bring you new music. We share all the good and sometimes not so good things that are happening in our world. Tonight will not be a disappointment. We would like to mention Bobby and Peggy Kretzinger with Operation Texas Strong. I have to say, I think it was RV number 146. I don't know. They are doing amazing. They just keep getting more and more RVs and keep putting more and more homeless veterans in there. And their store is rocking and rolling. I think they're actually looking at opening another store. So they are doing great. It is 18th of June, 2023. And I just have to throw out a little happy Father's Day. Thank you to all the dads out there that are doing their thing and doing it well. Hey, we wouldn't be here without you. Anyway, this week we've got Mr. Scott McEwen. He's here to talk with us about his amazing book, and hopefully we learn a lot more even about his talents. And we are also joined by Jamey and Rebecca Bagwell. They're going to be sharing music and stories tonight. I think it's going to be just one amazing show. Please stay tuned. Keep your ears open. Call on any questions if you have them, except maybe Gabriel Wren. Maybe you think about your questions once or twice, but hopefully you're doing dad things anyway. All right. I do want to remind you, if you come up as Facebook user when you're making comments and you would rather have your name there, you can leave it as an anonymous Facebook user. Or if you click this link that I'm going to put up in just a moment, your comments will show up with your name. You know what? At least that's how I think it works on your end. I'm not going to pretend. It didn't work for me one time, but it works usually for me. So I have this thing that has been given to me at the beginning, and I don't know that I was paying attention at our planning meeting. I have to look at Peterson's face quick. All right. He's doing all right. This is our WeP3 pledge, and I practiced it. Remember the old Girl Scouts? On my honor. But we pledge that we know why we get to do this. This is thank you to the service members and first responders that have committed their time, sweat, blood, limbs, families, and life to give us the freedoms that we have that allow us to do what we do daily. And thank you to all of you for that. That's our community and our country heroes, you guys. That's all of that. Before we get started with this week's show, which I'm super excited to get into, I would ask that you take off your hats, stand if you can, and cover your heart, and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think my intros are getting longer. I'm getting so much better at this.
I accidentally cued one of the songs as we started the Pledge of Allegiance, so I apologize for that. That's too many buttons, too much responsibility, and I'm the wrong guy to have all that stuff. Happy Father's Day, everybody. How exciting it is to have this panel on here tonight. And Scott, happy Father's Day. I see you wearing the dad hat. I'm certain, only because you said that pre-show, that you were busy doing Father's Day. Thank you for those families. And this is one of those pieces that fits into what we do. The ones that didn't sign up for the mission, the families, the brothers, the mothers, the sisters, the fathers, the whole thing. Thank you for the commitment and the support you've given to those that serve, because without we wouldn't have a lot of the veterans, the servicemen and women, and or the first responders we have out there. I shouldn't be saying this one because I fit the mold a little bit, but happy Father's Day to all fathers, those who have proactively assumed the role of nurturing and nurturing their children to be positive and proactive part of the world. But thank you to those fathers that had a higher sense of duty. Thank you to the fathers out there that are deployed and serving our military, and the first responders that are on the front lines today. Thank you to fathers who instilled in their children the values of the service. And because of that, they are missing their children as they are out deployed or serving the military or out there being on the front line again as a first responder. And ultimately, our heart goes out to those Gold Star fathers who have lost a child due to their service while on duty and post-duty. And ultimately, we want to remember we do have those fathers that we are missing today because of their service. And we wish you thank you. I got the Holy Ghost bumps right now as I read this off and as we're doing this, but it's kind of weird. And I totally get inappropriate with my children. My children told me that I was half part of why this happened. I'm like, you know what? If you put the muffin batter in the pan and then throw it in the oven, who's actually responsible? Whatever. That's off-color little comment.
I think you lost me. Did you guys?
Fathers have a way of putting a parasite in someone that allows them to feed off them for 9 months, and so I guess that's worth the sacrifice. So thank you, fathers, for the easy part of the job. I'm just going to say that. Let's be there. The fun part of the job. You know what? You don't have any responsibilities in this other than having fun. That's what it's supposed to be, right? Jamey and Rebecca Bagwell, Mr. McEwen, Scott McEwen, thank you for being here tonight. This is We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime, and let's commence. Let's have some fun. We got any crew out there that we need to do some quick shout outs to? We can't start the show officially yet because Gabriel Wren's not here. So but Jimmy Daniels, we see you, brother. It's awesome having you here. We've got Derek Iozio. You're a rock star, brother. I'm going to put that out there. Thank you for all the amazing things you're doing down there in Texas with the Catch 22 support out of El Paso. I could not be one of those shock jockeys, even though I probably have the face that's better for radio, because I cannot speak that fast with clarity, and I don't know what I'm saying next. So Operation Texas Strong, that's Bobby and Peggy Krutzinger. I know Andrea every week says this at the start of the show, and I don't think everyone understands the longevity of what these people are actually doing. Bobby and Peggy have worked out a system that collects RVs across the country to house homeless veterans down in their space in Texas. And they actually work with us a little bit to help make sure that we've got other programs that have housing opportunities through RVs for other veterans across the country. And the number is always a mystery because I know we're dangling up there in the 150, 140 range within a year, people, within a year. I just kind of want to let you understand the numbers. According to the numbers, we have roughly 50,000 homeless veterans across the country. This guy is knocking it out one RV at a time. He's got roughly 300 other RVs across the country that we're just trying to find a way to get into that. We kind of got to go south a little bit because it doesn't pay to have it in Minnesota when we're trying to heat it in the wintertime, and in Colorado he's got a bunch. Again, we can provide the housing, but can we get the heating and all that stuff taken care of? We can, people. We can get this done. You got to jump on board and be part of the process. If you're not part of the process, we always ask, what are you doing? What are you doing? This doesn't hurt. Andrea, you got some news? Or should we? I know that's not our rule. It is what it is.
Let me just, it's been a while. We did this so long ago. I do have, you guys might not know this, but happy Father's Day. I already did this one, but
what?
I think our friend Jonathan, who's on a trip with his family right now, is where he should be. He's in New York.
New York, get a rope.
He may have worded this a little differently than Peterson. So Father's Day is a day to celebrate the man that took personal responsibility every single time you got hurt growing up. The man that was stronger, smarter, and more caring than anyone you knew in your early years. Fathers hold a special place in our lives. Tonight, we'll share a few quotes about fathers that Jonathan came across this week. Quotation marks. Dads are most ordinary men turned by love into heroes, adventurers, storytellers, and singers of song, unquote. And that's Pam Brown. And another one from an unknown source is, a father is someone you look up to no matter how tall you grow. Oh, I like that one. So Jonathan, wherever you are out there tonight, gosh, it's late wherever you are. Happy Father's Day to you as well. On June 20th, we're looking at National American Eagle Day. And this is a day to raise awareness about the bald eagle in an effort to preserve their natural habitat. Bald eagles are powerful birds of prey indigenous to America. They symbolize strength, determination, and honor. On June 20th, 1782, the Second Continental Congress selected bald eagles as the national symbol of the United States. In the 1950s, the bald eagle was at serious risk of extinction and was classified as endangered in 1967. The bald eagle would become a primary success story for the Endangered Species Act. As of 2007, the bird is no longer considered threatened and has a healthy population level. Here are a few facts about the bald eagle. One pair of bald eagles in Florida built a whopping 20-foot deep and 9.5-foot wide nest that weighed over 2 tons. Oh my gosh. Now I need to know where they built that. Holy cow. Another one is bald eagles can fly at a height of 10,000 feet, and they can avoid rain and storms by actually flying above the clouds. A quote from John F. Kennedy: "The founding fathers made an appropriate choice when they selected the bald eagle as the emblem of the nation. The fierce beauty and proud independence of this great bird aptly symbolizes the strength and freedom of America." That is really cool. And I live right here on the Mississippi River, and it joins right along the Wisconsin border with the St. Croix River. And there's no lack of bald eagles in this area whatsoever. They are amazingly repopulated in this area, and they're beautiful. I sit in the pontoon quite often and just watch them. I don't know. They sometimes sit and sometimes fly, but they turn into a speck. It's crazy how high they get.
Do you know what breed of bird Benjamin Franklin wanted to make the national bird?
Was it a turkey?
It was the turkey, which, you know what, is an amazing, beautiful bird in itself. I mean, that wouldn't be a terrible. I mean, but I love to smoke and eat turkey, so I'm thankful
that would be bad. Yeah.
Didn't happen. Would we be able to eat turkeys if it was our national bird? I don't think so.
Maybe domestic. I don't know.
And
I don't know.
I don't know if anyone had the chance to watch or follow. I mean, I know that Corey, the one in my life, my wife, the one that does her thing, she works with kids, and they watch an eagle cam. And in Minnesota, this eagle cam was up this year. Last year, they had 2 eagles in it, and one of those little birds, chicks, kicked the other eagle out, and it didn't make it. Same thing. They have this nest on a live cam here in the state of Minnesota, and this last spring, that stinking nest during a storm fell out of the tree, and they said it weighed 2,000 pounds, and that's ridiculous. But that's just some not needed to know information regarding to some eagle information. I do remember, again, unneeded information. The last time me and Andrew were in Texas, we were driving home from the airport, and we saw 2 eagles in the sky. We're going to say fighting, but I'm sure that they were probably trying to do more than fight.
Yeah, there was some diving down. Yep.
Yeah. Baby eagles. I don't know how that
something.
I would do in the nest, not up in the sky. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Again,
so one last thing on the news. Next week, we have guest Jamey Bonetto, who is the vice president of the Dallas Chamber of Commerce, and we have musician Rick Brown coming in. So that'll be next week. But I'm excited to get to this week's. And Jeremy Daniels, are you saying the Turkeys and the Eagles are both territorial gangs in Washington State?
That's a possibility. That is a possibility.
Which one do you belong to, Jeremy?
How awesome is this? Scott McEwen and Jamey and Rebecca Bagwell. We've got so much to talk about. And again, I know that there's some, Scott, you talked about it earlier. If you need to leave at any moment, we'll get started with you and share the story. The story, all of us, I'm going to say all of us, maybe not all of us. If you don't read, you need to start to learn to read, and maybe it's too late for that. And I don't want to equate it to a movie, but Mr. McEwen was a co-writer and author of American Sniper, the story of Chris Kyle. I don't even know. Honestly, I sat back all week, and I'm like, what kind of questions do you ask a man that got to sit in one of the most, I'm going to say, top 10 iconic individuals in America in this era? Lead us off, Scott. Give us some thoughts. Give us some ideas. What was the inspiration? Why did you get involved? There's the bag of opportunity. Spit it out, brother.
I was doing work with the SEAL teams. I'm a recovering lawyer, and I write now solely. So I'm on my 10th, or I guess my 11th book now. But American Sniper was my first book with Chris, and I used to do a lot of pro bono work as a lawyer with the Navy SEAL community here in San Diego, of which there's a huge community. Obviously, this is where all SEALs come from, is here in San Diego for their training, their initial training. Although they do have both East Coast and West Coast SEAls once they go through BUDS and they get their SEAL qualified. Basically their Budweiser is what they call it to become a SEAL. Anyway, I had some good friends that were SEALs. I'd done a lot of both civil and the odd, let's just say, criminal infraction, of which SEALs have been known to get into a disagreement maybe now and then at a bar. Anyway, and as a result of that, I got to meet Chris through another friend of mine who was also a Navy SEAL. And Chris was then active duty. He was just going into his 4th deployment. And I really enjoyed my time around him. We had a lot in common. He grew up on a ranch in Texas. I grew up on a ranch in Eastern Oregon. He liked to shoot a 300 Winchester Magnum, which was my gun of choice for big game. He used it for a different type of, let's just say, adversary. Anyway, so we became pretty quick friends. Both liked Coors Light, and I shot the breeze with him and got to know his story, and really how amazing his story was. And it wasn't just confirmed kills, which a lot of people think that that's what brought the whole thing to where it was, and that really wasn't it. It was the story of a band of brothers, and it really was this generation's band of brothers, as opposed to World War II, the band of brothers there that were depicted. And these guys had been at war, Chris, for almost 10 years, and many of the SEALs and the special operations community were at war for 15 years, during all the wars we had in Afghanistan and Iraq, which is an extreme amount of time. And so, I really thought Chris's story was an interesting one. And when I got to know Taya, I really believed at that stage that this was the story that had to be told, because this was not his story per se. This was the story of 300,000 veterans that had served and come back and had problems and had, marital, difficulties, because when you're at war for that long, it's really difficult for your family to deal with it. And so, I really felt that part of the story was very important to tell, that being Taya's part of the story as well. And that's why the book was kind of crafted in that manner, to give her point on, say, for example, what was going on in that chapter. And then her response was, my God, we'd see television reports and they'd say 6 Navy SEALs killed in a helicopter accident, news at 5, and you wouldn't hear what's going on. And, and it just got to the point where it was driving people crazy, including her, because she had to deal with all this trauma as a result of having to see all these reports and things of that nature, and really was not up to speed on what was going on. But it was a war that was fought much more in real time as far as the news, part of it is concerned, which is both good and bad for the families many times. But long story short, one thing led to another. Chris and I agreed to do the book, and we went to HarperCollins. HarperCollins published it, and it came out in 2012, and then we lost Chris, unfortunately, in February of 2013.
I sheer 100% appreciation in the fact that you, the author, is moving the focal point from Chris to ultimately everyone that are in those situations. And I absolutely 100% that accolade after accolade thank you. I think so often we could easily, again, read the book and say, well, this is about Chris Kyle. We could watch the movie and say, well, this is about Chris Kyle. And the fact that you can separate those pieces, being the author Um, I got the holy ghost bumps, and it's just like that is an amazing story. And I know Chris's wife is an amazing advocate in this world as well, when it comes to those who have served and the involvement of the post deployment piece, and unfortunately the post not I don't even know what to say, the loss of life. And I know she's a huge advocate. She's another one we would love to have on here to share. And the piece that I appreciate is the fact that she sees there's a mission after the fact. I see that you are saying there is a mission involved with sharing the story. And that is what we celebrate here, is the fact that getting these stories out are pivotal to saving the lives of those who have already been through it. I mean, it's heartbreaking and wrenching when we go back and talk about how our Vietnam veterans were treated and how they still are treated. And we're trying to play catch up to say, hey, thank you for your service. And again, now we've got a whole population of service members that are from theater to home front within 24 hours, which is a big part of Chris's story as well. And they're invisible, and we're done doing the invisible. We're going to put a Ronnie Shite Green moniker on each of these people. So I think our public needs to acknowledge and recognize. And again, I know that our veterans, when we got some of those that are out there that are, thank you for your service. And they're just like, oh, my service is for me. And I get that. They don't want to have the recognition, because for a lot of our service members, it's about them and what they got to do, and not about getting recognition for it. And I totally get it. But our 90% of our society that gets to lay their big fat heads on the pillows of freedom daily without worrying what's coming in the back door, and not having to worry about dialing 911, knowing that someone will be there to protect their backsides. They need to understand it comes at a cost.
Well, no doubt. And I think that's another one of the messages that I felt was important. And so did Chris. I mean, Navy SEALs are not known as, let's just say, the most timid of warriors out there. If anything, they're probably some of the most radical, along with some of the Marines, et cetera. Marsoc and a few other guys. These guys are these are hardcore individuals, and they're trained, and they are the tip of the spear. So it was important for us, when Chris was having some trouble, to tell that story, because I always felt like if Chris could tell that story, then the other guy that maybe wasn't a Navy SEAL, and I'm not saying that pejoratively or negatively towards that other individual at all. Thank you, for what you've done. But the one that maybe didn't go through the beatdown that SEALs did to become what they became, that those guys can come out and say, hey, look, it's okay to say, I need some help. I need some help. I need some help, because we're losing a lot of, we're going to lose more people from suicide than we will from active duty. And a lot of people don't realize that the battle still continues as we speak. And, a lot of people kick around that 22 per day. I don't know what the actual stats are. I heard that's pretty accurate. But, the SEAL team community itself has lost a huge number of people recently, and it's been devastating, and so I have my criticisms, but I'm not going to criticize per se the DOD or, for example, the VA. But I will say this: if you can spend $1 million on a soldier, getting them up and ready to go out and fight wars for us, then you can damn well spend $1 million to get them off that battlefield.
I appreciate that statement. And again, I appreciate that you're not here to criticize. There is a systems, we'll call it a systems issue, and a lack of investment in those systems. And there has to be I don't like the word transition, but there has to be a transitional process.
There has to be, no doubt about it. And while I'm on it, thank you, Johnny and Rebecca, for what you do. I think veteran home housing is very important, because it gives you a chance to sleep. I mean, just to literally sleep. And, sometimes it's so difficult to sleep and get your head back together. And you hear it so often from these guys, because I work with a lot of guys that are in recovery or that are in treatment or something like that, and it's like they don't have a place to sleep, and that's a very difficult situation.
Yeah, that's Bobby and Peggy Krutzinger with Operation Texas Strong, and thank you for that shout out again, Scott. Jamey, Rebecca, it's good to have you. I mean, I've been looking at these clean cut Air Force pictures for I don't know how long, and now we get some kind of hippie on here. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But it's good to have you guys. Tell us what gets us to have this conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Mark and Andrea. Thanks so much for having us on the show today. And Scott, great to meet you. I've read your first book a couple times through, and it's a fantastic book. Thanks for telling the story, and we appreciate it. And we're honored to be able to be on the same show with you tonight. And this is a surprise, but thanks. And yeah, we're just we're excited to be here and share a little bit of our music with you. I retired last August, so I've been retired for not quite a year yet, and so for a long career, I was about 3 months shy of 42 years, if you could believe that. I know with the curly hair, I don't look that old, but yeah, I'm that old. So. Yeah.
I mean, when did you decide after the clean cut and regulations that it was time? I'm just going to let her go. I'm going to fall apart now. When did you decide that?
Well, pretty much
immediately.
Yeah, pretty much immediately. Yeah.
Stop shining the shoes. Yeah, you stopped dressing your clothes in the closet, and
well, closet still looks pretty uniform, but I keep the door closed. So.
Fair enough. It's funny. It's something I keep in the closet too. 3 fingers between every hanger. That's what I try to do, and I don't know why I still do that. That's so. Just because we have one of our amazing friends in here tonight. Do you guys know Scotty Hastings by chance? Hastings.
Scott Hastings?
Yeah.
The name sounds a little familiar, but I don't know. I don't think I know that person, but I see.
Okay, check him out. He's a Nashville artist down there as well. He's a combat wounded veteran and does an amazing job. We love having him in our network, and we love having him here. And so it's good to have you here, Scotty. Thanks for being there. Jeremy Daniels, we see all your stuff. We appreciate you, brother. When did the music start?
Okay, so I'll talk a little bit. Normally, she has the mic, so I have to borrow the mic from her to talk.
Push her out of the way. Don't worry about it. Give her a little hip check. It's fine.
I'll start and she can finish up. So I've been singing for forever, pretty much since I was a kid. In churches and stuff and other events and things like that, but never got to really pursue it. Well, until recently, we're newlyweds, actually. Still, we've been married about a year and a half, and the way we met was pretty cool. It was a really cool story. Rebecca, I'll let her talk to you about her music career. But the way we met, we were living there in Nashville, both. We didn't know each other. We had a mutual friend that was familiar with Rebecca. Rebecca had a show, a television show. That she was doing on-demand type show, and it was dedicated to veterans and to the military. And so she had, as part of her stage set there in Lebanon, Tennessee, at Starstruck Farms. It was Reba McEntire's old place, and it was so I'd say we met in Reba's old horse barn, and we did. And but she had a show there that every Thursday night she would film a show that was dedicated to veterans, and you can find those shows. They're still out there on Roku and
Amazon Fire Stick and
all over the place. Yeah. There you can find those. But she needed an Air Force uniform. That was the only one she didn't have on her set, and so I just happened to have one. And so I've donated that to her. We met, and man, we just hit it off right away. And then we started singing together. Soon after that, we went out and visited with each other a couple of times and really hit it off. And then now we do shows together, and we record music together. So and write music together. So just a really cool thing.
I have a feeling she catfished you a little bit. That's what I'm thinking. That's where I'm going to go.
Maybe that's right.
What is it?
She was catfishing you, and it seems like it's worked out. So congratulations to both. No, I'm teasing. That's it's fun watching it, and some of the ironic pieces of this, and it's really weird when we find out how close we are to people in the network. But we've actually kind of been close to you guys. Me and Rebecca were talking pre-show. You guys have been nominated 16 times. Is that correct?
7 this year. We're up for 7 different categories this year.
Okay. For a Josie Award, which is independent artists here, it's probably, I say probably, but I know it's one of the largest indie music.
It is,
I'll let you say it. Go ahead.
It's the largest
Okay. Yeah.
in the whole world. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Only in the fact that, and every time I get the chance to do this, I throw it out there, and only because I like attention. But this is what happened for the 2022 Josie Awards.
I'm Mark Peterson with the People's Patriot Project.
And I'm Andrea Eichmann with the People's Patriot Project.
And we are live here in Nashville at the Josie Awards at the Grand Ole Opry.
Tonight we'll be interviewing several of the nominees for Josie Awards.
Come be part of the shock and awe. Patriot Pride.
It's pretty exciting when the first people we get to interview are the Goldens of the Oak Ridge Boys, and I mean that's pretty exciting. Were any of your friends in there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I recognize William Lee Golden and Chris Golden and Amy McAllister and Jimmy Parker and Toby Lee, and there was quite a few.
Where were you in that line? Because I don't think I saw an end to the line.
Was that 2022 or 2020?
2022.
Okay, I don't think we didn't do the red carpet because we got in there so late.
Okay.
And then
All right.
and then we left we left, I think, just as the last person had gotten announced and it was getting late and we were ready to head on.
That's
so
a long event. We didn't stay for it either. Sadly,
that's a lot shorter than it was when I first started going in 2017. It was I think it started at 1 and we were still in there at 6 p.m. and they were maybe 2/3 of the way done. They've really done really good about trying to shorten it up a little bit because there's just so much stuff.
So many categories, lots of people.
Absolutely. Gabriel, you're not late. That's just the way this is. It's perfect timing. We can now start. We appreciate you, brother.
That's funny.
Gabriel was actually the one that did that video for us, so we appreciate him.
Cool.
He's a great guy. He's one of those Marine veterans. They get a little, up in the end. It was kind of funny because he was videographer, aka security, teach everyone cultural acceptance there, and it was great having them there and sharing with us. Because I'm not that smart. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know who's walking through the line half the time, and he's like, "Hey, you want it? This is the guy." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, we got it." Thanks, Gabriel. So
he was a great coach, though. He did put us right out there, and the lighting, the microphone. Peterson kept talking with the microphone way out here. Just so many things, tiny little things that you don't think of when you sit here and do this that have to happen when you're live.
I'm not used to having stuff like that up around my face. I'm sorry. I just couldn't get the piece. And I'm totally joking, but go ahead. You got something.
I hope you weren't asking us questions because we couldn't hear anything there for about 30 seconds.
Oh, the most important part of the show just went by, so it's okay. I got 3 songs queued up for you guys. Not really. Our resolution. That's why I don't have the whole list. I'm sorry. I want to go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which song would you like to start off with?
How about we start off with Our Resolution?
Our Resolution. Is there a story behind it?
Oh, yeah, there's a good story behind it. Yeah, so I wrote, this is the song, that's the title song of our EP that we just released recently, Our Resolution. And that EP can be found everywhere on all digital platforms. So I started writing this song about maybe 6 years ago. I wrote the first verse and the chorus, and then I sat it down, and then I would look at it occasionally, but didn't really add to it until after we were married, maybe a year ago. And then I picked it up and finished it in about half hour. And then we went pretty soon after that. We went to the engineer, a great engineer in Nashville, Brent Ronan, and does a great job. But the song is a song from my heart. You know, I got to wear the uniform for over 40 years. And if you listen closely in the song, Our Resolution, you'll hear quote. They're not actually quotes because I had to paraphrase to make them fit in the song, but quotes of many of our nation's leaders from way back, from the beginning, from Revolutionary War times all the way up to modern day, to the modern day. So it was just my being able to put my heart into a song, and I'm just thrilled at how it turned out. Rebecca, of course, sings the background vocals on it. When you hear that, you think it's an angel, and it is. It's my wife, Rebecca.
I told him to say that.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I can see who wears the pants right now. I see.
So that's it for Our Resolution. It's we like to describe it as a gritty, patriotic song. And whenever I'm talking to someone and I tell them about the song, I tell them this. I say the best way to listen to this song is to put it on some speakers, like when you get in your truck or at home. Put it on some really good speakers, and then turn it up loud and listen with a little bit of an attitude. That's how you need to listen to this song. So that's it for Our Resolution.
Well, let's give it a shot. This is Jamey and Rebecca Bagwell with Our Resolution.
He drew the line, he set it into where I live. My one regret, I have only this life to give. Hammers fell, and free red blood was spilled. And when the smoke cleared around the world, the sky was filled with the sounds of freedom. Let it ring loud in their heads. Liberty delivered on the backs of the free and the dead. They left their homes and their families. They laid it all on the line. This is our resolution. We're gonna live free or die. In the course of time, freedom was slipping away, torn down by the creatures of the swamp, hell-bent on making the fray, trying to tame our spirits and take away our God and guns. I don't want them running my life, and I know I'm not the only one. There are little white stones standing all across this land today, marking the place where our battle-scarred warriors' sacred bodies lay. They swore an oath to protect us from evil without and within. know they'd all love to rise up and throw down one more time again, and shout the sounds of freedom, let it ring loud in their heads. Liberty delivered on the backs of the free and the dead. They left their homes and their families, they laid it all on the line. This is our resolution, we're gonna live free or die. Freedom's never more than one generation from extinction. Hey, it's on us all. If it's more than a story for our children's children, we've got to answer the call. Answer the call. If we are to remain the home of the brave and the land of the free, it's up to we the people to secure the blessings of liberty. Stand up and shout for freedom, let it ring loud in their heads. Liberty delivered on the backs of the free and the dead. They left their homes and their families, they laid it all on the line. This is our resolution, we're gonna live free or die. This is our resolution, we're gonna live free or die.
Well, tell me a reason why not that doesn't put a little spirit in your soul.
Yeah.
I definitely got the attitude. Definitely.
Attitude. That was driven home, man. That was I love it. I love it. Scott, what was your shock and awe moment? And only because, again, you've got many works done. American Sniper is the one that hangs out here for our audience and what we're talking about tonight. What was your shock and awe moment during the writing of that project? Your microphone's off, just so you know. Scott, your microphone's off.
I'm sorry. Yeah, there was while writing the project, you run into a lot of things. Because I've written books with other SEAL team members, including Ryan Zinke, who's a congressman out of, say, for example, Montana, and was also Secretary of the Interior. And I always give advice to others that are writing books that they better submit to the DOD, because you are legally responsible to submit to the DOD. And if you do not, they can take the totality of your proceeds from the book and or prosecute you, or both. So it's very important, as and obviously from a legal background that I am, I tell everybody, look, if you're going to write about things that happen while you're in service, whether you think it's classified or not, you damn well better do it, because they will use those issues, to their advantage, as we saw with another writer that's out there that I just rather not mention. But anyway, so I was kind of shocked by the DOD, by a few of the things I got back from them, as far as confirmed kills, as far as, medals, as far as stuff that they'd screwed up on, that their records were really not accurate on. And you know, and I felt that they would have a more, I guess, a more their act together a little bit better, and unfortunately they did not. So I had to deal with those issues, you know, and it caused us a lot of delays, and it caused us a lot of problems, and it caused, you know, some attacks from the left, because they're going to attack you for whatever they can. You know, when you're writing a patriotic book, they want to find holes to try and attack the messenger, because they know that the message is so strong. And you know, not unlike the song, and I enjoyed that song as well. You know, thank you. That's a great piece. But you know, they're going to find ways to come after you, and you know, and you know, and Chris, I don't think he was quite so prepared for those criticisms and for that kind of limelight. And you know, and then when things blew up to the point of, you know, #1 New York Times bestseller for literally months, you know, weeks and months, it just takes on a different importance, I guess. And so, you know, I mean, I felt Chris did a good job with it. I mean, there were mistakes we both made, but when you get thrown that much into the limelight, and you know, you're doing Bill O'Reilly, you know, Johnny Carson, whatever, you know, Conan O'Brien, you know, AOL, everything you can imagine for interviews, there's going to be a lot of incoming. There's going to be a lot of incoming you're going to have to deal with.
Well, of course, the People's Patriot Project. I mean, you forgot to list that on that list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you know, I felt like the message got across, and I was very pleased. You know, frankly, although movies are never the same as books, because your medium that you have to work with is so much more limited, as opposed to the canvas that you have of the book. You get 400 pages to write your story, and to write the story of the individual who you're trying to write about. But I felt that Clint did a great job, Clint Eastwood, and I felt that Jason, you know, Hall did a great job of with the script, because, you know, it's hard to take all of those things and put them in 20 scenes. It's like what you got to cut from, you know, for example, a song. You know, you can do 50 verses, but it's not going to play. You know, it's not going to work. You know, but the bottom line is you have to limit, you know, what you're doing. And I felt that you know, within the time frame that Clint had to work with, and that, you know, and that Bradley did a great job acting Chris's part too, that movie was a very, very good reflection of the book, and a very, very good reflection of Chris. And so I take my hat off to Clint Eastwood and to Bradley Cooper. And, you know, Clint is a known patriot, but I'll tell you right now, Bradley is a good man as well. And he did a great job with that character. And I think he brought honor to not only Chris, but to the military by the job he did.
I am absolutely impressed. I've read several articles with Mr. Cooper involved, and just even his recognition, like even for himself, not actually being proactive with the pieces, but you know, he's acting, but like the PTSD, he pulled away from being the actor to that piece. I'm just like, thanks for recognizing, thanks for understanding, thanks for being part. And I do think he did an amazing job of portraying.
No, Bradley's a good man. And you know, Clint runs, I'll give you one little Hollywood story. Clint runs a closed set for his movies. And when I say closed set, there's no girlfriends, there's no paparazzi, there's no BS. There's, you know, basically, if you're there, you're there to work. And that's why he's such an efficient, and, you know, and he's worked so long in that industry, is because he's on time and on budget. And so, you know, I was on the set, and he actually allowed me to bring some pretty injured warriors with me. And he took the time to spend some time with them that day. And, you know, and Bradley, one of the guys, couldn't speak because he'd had such a bad brain injury and a bad brain bleed. He'd lost his ability to speak in his cerebral cortex. And so he had to communicate through an iPad. And I'll tell you, Bradley sat there for 2 hours talking to him through his iPad, you know, and reading back and forth. And it wasn't like your Hollywood, hey, what's going on? I'm the biggest actor in the world, 3 times, best looking man in People magazine, this kind of stuff. The guy's genuine. He's the real deal. And, and I really appreciated, the time that he spent with the Warriors that I brought there, that I'm sure that I know appreciated it as well.
I appreciate, and again, your firsthand accord of this conversation is actually brings even more just patronage to him as a person. That was going to be one of my next questions was, did you get to have a role? Did you get to have a piece in helping with the direction of the movie?
I would say my biggest piece in helping with the direction of the movie is I literally engaged in the only conversation that Chris ever had with Bradley Cooper when the decision was made that Bradley was going to play Chris. And that was a huge decision because, Bradley wasn't the type of guy you would typecast for this type of role. And, and Bradley basically got on the phone with Chris and I told Chris, look, I really believe he can do it. I really believe he can pull it off. I think he's going to get in shape to do it. I think he's got the mentality to do it. And I think he's willing to, get a little sand in his mouth and spit it out like a seal would, and get that feeling. And, and so I felt that was an important decision. And then Jason Hall, really, I'm the one that made the call on Jason Hall, and Jason did a great job in adapting the book to the script. And I worked really closely with Jason, so those 2 decisions where it's at. I mean, when you got a movie that's being directed by somebody like Clint Eastwood, I mean, let's face it, what the hell am I going to bring to that conversation? That's like, it's just not going to happen. It's like me trying to tell Hemingway how to write a book after I'd written 1 book after American Sniper. It ain't going to happen. I mean, it's like, I'm not at that level. I'm not even near that level, and probably never will be at that level, but, and I can recognize and appreciate that. I have no, I don't have an ego on that, but, so no, I mean, you just stand back and watch the master at work.
I love it. And I mean, we never know what we're going to get when we bring guests on. Of course, we chase the shiny objects. We like, oh my gosh, we got Scott McEwen on it. This is going to be great. And I appreciate the humility. I appreciate your candidness. I appreciate the real conversation, and we thank you. We're at that 1 hour mark, so I want to be cognizant of everyone's time.
Yeah, I've got a hard out in 5 minutes. I've got a 5:05. I don't know why I got 2 interviews today, so I'm probably going to leave you guys here. And thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the music as well, you guys. I really like your stuff. I'll look it up.
Thank you.
Keep up the fight. We're being attacked from many directions right now, and I like to try and tell people, look, all we've got to do is stand up and tell the truth and tell it the way it is, and support the people that support this country, and they will lose. They will lose. The people that don't like this country will lose, and all we got to do is stand up and do it. And I think people are doing more of that now. We see people standing up at school boards. We see moms coming in and getting the FBI chasing them, and and everything else, because they're not willing to take it anymore. And I really appreciate that Americans are willing to do that and be patriots, because, I mean, we got a great nation. We got a great group of people here, and we don't need to put up with this crap. We just don't need to do it. That's the bottom line.
Just take the mic and drop it right now. Boom.
Thanks, guys. You guys, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. McEwen.
I'm out.
Bye.
Thanks, Scott.
I mean, holy cow, right?
Yeah.
Holy cow. We're going to work to get Scott back on again, just so we can hear, what is he working on now? What's the next again? We totally appreciate the fact, and I hope you guys don't have a heart out now. I mean, we can close her up, but where do you go, honestly, from there? I mean, we got 2 amazing patriots here. I'm not going to lie. a friend of mine has done some stalking and has got some, behind the scenes information that maybe we would share later and just work in a collaborative effort in the near future. Where has this mission of your music? Tell me some of the things that's brought to your plate.
Yeah, go ahead.
For me, I've been I didn't come from a musical background as a child. I was in a boarding school that was a cult from the time I was 6 till I was 11, so didn't hardly hear. I think I might have heard, a few hymns here and there that we actually got to sing. And then when I got out of there, I was about 19 years old when a friend of the family heard me sing and asked if she could pay for me to have voice lessons. So that was kind of the start to my musical journey of things that have come my way that I'm blessed with. Didn't do a whole lot with my voice until I was probably in my 30s, and I started competing with karaoke contests of all things. And I'm from New Hampshire, so it was up in that area. And then what started to bring me towards the Nashville area was the first place winner for the state of New Hampshire representing North America couldn't attend Pigeon Forge to compete for North America. And so I was the runner up, and I was the one that got to go to Pigeon Forge. And that was when the thing of, maybe I can sing, maybe I should do a little more of this started to happen. And it was in 2010, I came to Nashville to record my very first duet with someone up in Massachusetts. He was coming and had filled in as a drummer for my band in 2010. And that was when I went, I think I need to do something besides be a secretary the rest of my life, because that's my career. I'm administrative assistant for 27 years of my life. And so in 2011, I moved to Nashville, didn't have a job, didn't have a place to live, and just thought, well, I don't want to be 90 and still be sitting behind a desk as a secretary going, well, I did sing a little bit, but I never really gave it never gave it my whole heart. And so I did that, and it's just opened a whole bunch of doors just having moved to Nashville. It's been hard. I would never say that it was, a piece of cake and everything's been handed to me on a silver platter, because nothing ever has been to me. But, it just kind of fits in with everything. And, I always say to people, if you want something, just work hard for it, and try to find the people that are like-minded, and find the people that will support you. I don't mean financially, but support you with a positive comment, or you're going the right way, or maybe go this way instead, or help you by hand, throw you a bone here and there. And so I've been really blessed to have. I was a touring musician for a while before COVID crazy came to town. And then when COVID came was when I started my show, which leads me up to the present moment, where I started in my living room with my telephone, is how I started all by myself. And I'm not a guitar player, but I can play a little bit. So I would get on Facebook just because no musicians were out. And so I would just start tinkering a little bit on my guitar and talking a little bit to my friends out on Facebook. And I started realizing that people are really hungry to hear that everybody's okay out there. And musicians were really hungry to do something. They didn't care if they were getting paid. They didn't care about anything. They just wanted to get out there in front of your crowd, my crowd, their crowd, whose ever crowd. And so that was what started it all. And I would start having this musician and that musician would come to my living room, and it ended up a television guy came in and started setting up his television cameras. And then I started having people that wanted to come as a live studio audience. And I went, yeah, this is my house. I can't do this anymore at my house. So that was what took me over to Reba McEntire's former place there in Lebanon, Tennessee. And we were able to use a whole stage and cameras and stuff like that, and didn't have the Air Force uniform. And so that kind of brought me up to right about now. So it's just been thing after thing. And that show was really cool because, and we want to get back to it, but I would have veteran vendors like Authentically American, who is just all American made stuff over in Franklin, Tennessee. He would come and he'd speak about his products and things like that. And then we'd have there was a veteran, Vietnam veteran came up from Texas with a whole crowd. The rodeo queens came up from Texas with this one particular Vietnam veteran and his wife. And so it was just a whole lot of really cool things that just happened because, you know, I didn't want to just be singing to sing. It needed to have some sort of reason, and got to know about the Fisher House and got to know, got to know Jamey. And, you know, it's just been a great thing that show. Actually, COVID was really very, very kind to me.
It's kind of weird that you say that, because that is actually what spurred off our kind of a weird, I say fortunate, unfortunate exposure to a national audience. And because the People's Patriot Project was just a Minnesota-based nonprofit that wanted a one-stop shop, accommodations for veterans and first responders. And we put together a live Zoom. It started off as a Zoom because the media was telling us how terrible life was for everybody, and we're all going to die, and we're all depressed, and I'm like, hogwash.
Yeah.
I'm just stuck in my house because you tell me I've got to be here. Let's do this show. And we started doing, we called it the virtual happy hour, and we did stuff like this. And we were all starting to get fat, and it was weird. And so then we all went on a diet, and then one of our shtick was what's in the cup. And, you know, by June, we were all drinking water again. And it's like, that's not a very fun conversation. So, and then we started bringing musicians on and boots on the ground organizations from all over the country on, because what we were finding was a lot of times our veterans and first responders would reach out to us, and they're like, oh my gosh, you answered the phone. And I'm like, isn't that what support organizations are supposed to be doing? And they're like, this organization, they won't return my phone calls, they won't return my email. And I'm like, that's a critical poop the bed right there. I'm sorry. We have roughly 46,000 some nonprofit organizations across the country saying you are helping veterans and first responders. They're calling you at the moment of crisis. You better. We're here to cut the fluff. That's in our mission statement. We are here to cut the fluff. If you're not doing your job, hang it up, get out of the way, or join us. That's what we're at. And so that's where we're at. This is just such a unique connection. And it took us. You guys have been on our books for a good chunk of time, and you've been in the know for a while. Of course, Mr. Bagwell had to retire and had to grow his hair out and stuff, but he's there now. How long are you gonna let it grow?
Well, you know, I haven't had a haircut in a long time. It's been
since you retired, before you.
Well, it's been since probably almost a year. I haven't had a haircut.
You're looking good.
The longer it gets, the curlier it gets. So I don't know if it'll ever come, you know, like down here. So my youngest son said, Dad, let it grow to your shoulders. And so I don't know, maybe we'll let it grow to your shoulders. We'll see.
Rebecca probably didn't know what a really good dude, good looking guy you were until you started getting hair out. So that's
I actually liked his hair when it was just the day that he retired, because it wasn't this crazy yet, and it was he was able to feather it back, and it just looked like, oh my, that's good. Now it's just like I'm married to a hippie.
Yeah.
See how we kind of bring out the stuff in people, Jamey? Now you know what she really likes, but
yeah.
There you go. It kind of reminds me of you guys know who Dave Bray is, right? No.
Oh,
okay.
Dave Bray, USA.
Yeah, he's a veteran too and singer, and I've kind of watched his hair.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Dave Bray.
Yeah, kind of same thing, right? Now it's down. Now it's pretty long, and it's got a lot of curly in it too. So maybe it'll work out like that.
Yeah.
I think that it's the longer it gets, it's just curling into itself.
Sure.
So I mean, I'd like to pull it right here, but I'm not gonna do that on television.
Hey,
But,
this is a PG show, Rebecca. We're not gonna let you.
No violence.
We got Not Really, and that's why I want to go. Which one you want to go with now?
Yeah, let's do Not Really. This was the first song that we sang, that we recorded together, and it's we didn't write the song. A friend of ours wrote the song. He's a very, very famous, Nashville songwriter.
He's in the Songwriter Hall of Fame.
Right. Yeah, and Jerry Foster is his name, and
I know. Yeah, we try to. Jerry's a veteran as well. We're being trying to get him on the show.
Yeah.
And a great storyteller.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic storyteller.
And if you have him on the air, just make sure you have plenty of hours, because he loves to tell stories, and they're great stories.
They're all good stories. Yeah, so he let us sing this song, and we love it. It was our first song. We get a lot of good reviews on this song.
We actually were able to perform this song live on down in Louisiana at the Shreveport Municipal Auditorium last July. Yeah, last July, almost a year. And that was where Elvis got his start, where Johnny Cash, right? Hank Senior. All these famous people got there. It's an enormous stage. When you walk on it, you feel like you're like this big. Well, you can't probably see it too good. There we go. Feel like they're this big on, like an ant on an elephant's back. There we go.
Yeah.
And then there's this brass screw that's in the middle of the stage, where that's supposed to be the famous brass screw where everybody has stood that was anybody. So, but we're supposed to be going back there again on November 4th for back to the Shreveport Municipal Auditorium and keeping it country with Don Caldwell and Dave Gore. I'll just give them a shout out, because they're the ones that put that on. And this year, seeing as how we're talking about it, is going to be for it's a veteran.
It's for a veterans organization.
I just can't remember for the life of me what it's for, but it's a charity event, and I think the municipal auditorium holds like 2,500 people, and the Bellamy brothers are going to be there. Ronnie McDowell. Do you remember
Leona Williams?
Leona Williams, who was one of Merle Haggard's wives. So that'll be November 4th. So there we just did some free advertising for those guys.
Hey, that's what we do, and that's exciting. We'll get back to that when we come back. But this is Jamey and Rebecca Bagwell with Not Really.
Said you would meet me here, and maybe we could talk. I checked my watch as you walked through the door. Never seen you look so good. Really glad I called. Just seeing you was sure worth waiting for.
There's things I'd like to ask you, but I don't want to know. They're just not that important anymore. Unless, of course, there's someone else, and you can't let her go. If you tell me, then I'll know for sure.
No, not really. I never gave my heart away to anybody new. No, not really. I never have loved anyone but you.
I know you have a question. I see it in your eyes, and you want to hear the answer for yourself. You're asking what the truth is and where my feelings lie.
I want to know if you have someone else.
No, not really.
I never gave my heart away to anybody new.
No, not really.
I never have loved anyone but you.
No,
No,
not really.
I never gave my heart away to anybody new.
No,
No, not really. I never have loved anyone but you. No,
not really. Not for me.
Oh.
Well, early cue on the next one. That was Jamey and Rebecca Bagwell with Not Really. Ours is working. Mine's working. Is yours working, Andrea?
Yeah, I can hear.
All right.
We can hear Andrea. I can't hear you, Mark.
Okay.
Oh.
We can do this.
He'll figure that out. He'll figure it out.
Yeah. let me drop real quick and come back. Andrea, can you run a little Q&A now? Boom.
Oh, can I? He never thinks I can do this. No. So for the next part of the show, we would ask what you guys have. What's coming up in your near future? You've got a lot of time now, probably, to think about things being retired, but I feel like you probably have some plans already on the calendar.
Yeah, he's actually not. He still works. He still does a contract job in DC, so he's not like off a lot. But it's kind of a hybrid job, so he's back and forth some. And we have for the most exciting, most immediate thing happening is July 29th, right here at our new place in Murray, Kentucky, where we moved back in December. And the people that owned this place before us built this incredibly beautiful garage. And it was for like their 67 or 68 Corvette or Chevelle or whatever it was. And I don't know why you would build something of this caliber for your car, because it's enormous. It's 40 by 40 or 42 by 42, and it's got 14-foot ceilings and 12-foot garage doors. We have our 30-foot camper stored in here. And so that's, if that gives you any indication, and it's only taking up half of it. And so we're going to do, we've been working on it since about January, turning it into an intimate music venue where we'll have, hopefully have maybe a couple fairly big name acts a couple times a year. And then probably the rest of the time we'll either be filming for our show that it used to be my show, and now it'll be our show. We'll be filming some stuff here where we can have live studio audience if people want to be involved. And then we'll probably maybe do some shows with some independent artists, just because, you know, we're both independent artists, and the independent artist doesn't get a whole lot of, doesn't get what?
A lot of press.
A lot of press. You know, as an independent artist, you have to fight for everything you can get. So that's kind of our heart, is to make it kind of an intimate venue, because it'll only hold, maybe on a good day, it might hold 150, but I'm not going to guarantee that. Maybe I would say it's going to be comfortable at 125, and that might be a little cozy. But so our first event is January 29th. It's going to be a half-a-day festival is what we're doing, and it'll be 11 to 3. And Jamey and I are going to do a little bit. Tina Patterson-White, who is a great singer, she actually sounds a lot like Loretta Lynn. She actually won, I think, Songwriter Achievement of the Award with the Josies last year. And I think she's up for Traditional Female Artist of the Year this year herself. So she's one of the artists. And then we've got Merlin Jean, who has his own show on RFD TV. And you can find his stuff out there on the RFD channel, I believe. And then we've got Ray Cooper, who is a comedian. So those four. And then the headliner is Carolyn Dawn Johnson, who currently tours with Martina McBride. And she had big hits back in the early 2000s. She wrote the song, if you remember, Single White Female, that Shelley Wright recorded. And she has a real funny story to tell about that. And actually, I'm going to share it right here real quick. She'd come out of a venue after doing a show, and she could hear this song blaring from someone's car. And she stopped and she went, that sounds like my song. And so she gets closer, and she realizes that it's Shelley Wright sitting in the car blaring her song to make sure that it's really the one that she wants to cut. And they don't know each other. And so she starts hammering on the window, and Shelley rolls the window down a little bit. And she goes, she didn't even say hi or introduce herself. She goes, that's my song. That's my song. So that's pretty cool. And so she'll be the headliner closing out the show from 2 to 3 that day. And that poster for that event's all over Facebook. And it's free to the public. And we're just asking for donations that will go to the fire department for our rescue team, and then also the Humane Society for injured animals that the owner can't be found. So that's what we're doing for that day. So that's our biggest thing. What else we got going on?
Yeah, well, we're back, like you said, we're back at the Shreveport, Louisiana Municipal Auditorium.
Oh, and I sent that email over to you, Mark, with, it's for the AMVETS, and I sent it to you in an email. There's a poster that you can see what that's about in case you're interested or something. While we were listening to our song, I sent that in your email.
Very cool. I think I went and found that too. Is that Keeping It Country?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And Sons of AMVETS. Okay, I went on the site too and looked because it made me curious.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah. What else are we doing?
Well, August, we're at the
Wilson County Fair.
Wilson County Fair in Nashville. It's the largest fair in Tennessee. And then, so we'll be there doing some music. And then, sorry, one of our cats is attacking the stage. Perfect.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that. It's like having children, I think.
Yeah, we usually keep our schedule out, most of our schedule out on our website or Facebook.
I try to. I don't always keep up with it real well, but most of the time.
We've been so busy. We haven't been playing out a lot recently. We've been really busy trying to get our barn in shape for our grand opening. So we play a few shows, small shows, local around here. And then,
and then the Music City Hayride.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a show over at the Troubadour Theater in Nashville on Music Valley Drive that Dean Holman is the CEO, and it's been going on I think since 2015. The Music City Hayride, and we'll be. I'm doing the anthem for every one of those shows this year. Again, I did it last year, and then I think the next show that we're on besides just the anthem, I think is. Well, I don't remember. I don't remember. It seems like it might be September, but I'm not sure of that. I'd have to look at my calendar. But I think I don't know if he necessarily puts the dates out there until closer to when they're happening. I don't really remember how Dean does that. So. Yeah.
Sure. No, very cool.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
See, going out and coming back in, it works for some weird.
I don't know what that jazz is all about, but it's good. I didn't want to interrupt your conversation. It's what do you in? I get an idea and a gist, and I kind of heard a little bit as I was coming back in. Jamey, what are you doing in your retirement?
That was pretty good.
Building a music theater.
Yeah, building a music theater. I'm on my tractor a lot, bush hogging and dragging my box blade and smoothing out dirt and stuff like that. That's a lot of fun, and it's very therapeutic if you don't have a tractor. I would suggest a 1952 Ford 8N. They're very nice. That's what I have, but very therapeutic. But also, I do work, serve in a government job right now, still working for the Air Force as a contractor on a sort of a hybrid remote job. So I get to do that sometimes from home. Sometimes I have to travel up to DC for that. So I do that, and that between that and the music, stay pretty busy, and the tractor, and my wife, of course.
I like the tractor.
You gotta have a committed subject passion, and it sounds like you got all that. So I love it. I love it. And again, if you guys have a moment in post show after we run our last piece, we'd like you to hang on for a little collab opportunity at the end. If you got to go, we totally get it. But
sure, we can do that.
We do want to always mention that we do carry the platform of making sure that we like bringing recognition, but we're kind of done with recognizing the fact that 6,000 veterans have killed themselves for the last 20 years straight. It's not a secret anymore. Mr. McEwen was talking about the number 22. We know that number fluctuates between 17 and 75 a day. And we know that we can't put a number on our first responders because there's no data in the fact that there's no combined collaborative agency that's collecting that information. And so we're hearing stories about our police officers daily. We're hearing stories about, we lost a firefighter this week. Unfortunately, it was a heart attack. Commander for the St. Paul Fire Department. Our thoughts and our hearts go out to that department, that family, that community. These men and women are running into fires when most of us run away from those fires. And at the same time, no one hesitates for a second to dial 911 with an expectation that someone's going to show up. And our platform and mission is that we need to make sure we are supporting these veterans and first responders, our veterans, our enlisted men and women. It's 90% of our United States population literally has no skin in the game. And again, this doesn't come across as an attack. It comes across as, please have an understanding. It's amazing that we have to teach people that milk, eggs, meat, and cheese doesn't just happen in the grocery store. Well, same thing with your freedom. Your freedom just didn't happen. Your freedom came because on the backs of the men and women who put their skin in the game, their sweat, their blood, the stories and the narrative we put before in our pledge, their lives, and their loved ones in harm's way to make sure you have the freedoms to go get what flavor mulatte or frou-frou drink you want to get from whatever branded coffee drink you want to have. Please understand this is a critical mission, and all of us have one of these devices in our arm's reach, and we do ask you, reach out. We don't ask you to do it one time a week. We ask you to do it in a 6-pack. I promise you, this is, if you reach out and say, hey, I was just thinking about you, 6 people in your network, and I'm not talking veterans or first responders. This is where we openly open this to all listeners and all purposes. 6 people in your contacts and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. I promise you, it may stir on a conversation, but it's probably a conversation worth having. Reach out to 6 people in that network and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. I promise you, it will open some eyes. It will bring some recognition. It will, and tell them, hey, we got your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime said to do it. We're doing it. We did this as a campaign a couple months ago where we did it every day for a month straight. I don't know that we reached as many people as I wanted to. That's my truth, because we're still having 22 suicides a day. And we'll get it figured out. But when I say I mean we, all of us, our network, our community, our society, our families, we need you to reach out to others to make this effective. And that's just the small part of the mission. That's we constantly ask people, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you're not doing anything, enjoy your freedoms. And I absolutely 100% say that in kind of a snide way, because I think a lot of people enjoy the opportunity to celebrate the 4th of July. I mean, you celebrate your daily moments every day by getting up and driving whatever vehicle you've chosen to afford, whatever house you've chosen to live in, getting whatever pillow you decide to lay that big fat head on. Sorry if that's rough. But this is an important piece to me. And if you're not doing nothing, I wish I could ship you out of here, but I don't. It goes along with a little bit of the mission that Mr. McEwen was talking about earlier, and the mission of Jamey's first song. I just don't know anymore. I really wish we had a bigger audience, only in the fact that I don't think I need to be talking to our veterans and first responders. We need to be talking to the world. And It's a positive message. I'm not here to attack anyone. Enjoy whatever holiday you get to enjoy every single day. Let's enjoy all of them. Let's enjoy all cultures. Let's enjoy it all. But remember, it all came at a cost. And that's a piece we need to. Sorry, I get on my rant every once in a while. You guys got to sit through it. I apologize, Jamey and Rebecca.
You don't have to apologize to us. Just don't get me started too much. We won't be able to get off the show.
Let's get you started. So that's why I want to go. Tell me about that one.
That song was a song that Jamey and I heard a couple years ago, when I was filming my show. And a friend of mine, Mike Oldham, wrote that song. And I've known Mike for about 12 years. And I always say it's cool because he was the second person that invited me to sing on his stage down on Broadway when I first moved to Nashville. So it's nice how, friendships like that can just last for years and years and years. And then you finally get to cut one of their songs. It feels kind of like a thank you for, giving me a moment of your time on your stage down on Broadway 12 years ago or 13 years ago at this point, I guess it was about. So this is Mike Oldham wrote this, and we just loved it and thought that this is a really good message in this song too. So
this is Jamey Rebecca Bagwell with That's Why I Want to Go.
I don't need a mansion on streets of pure gold, and I don't need wings and things and treasures untold. No, that's not why I wanna go. It's nice that I'll be seeing my loved ones gathered there, and James and John and countless ones, and joy everywhere. But that's not why I wanna go. Jesus will be there, I know. That's why I wanna go. I heard a man long ago and mocked him, but one night I sought him, and he gave peace to me. And this is why I wanna go to touch his nail-scarred hands and see him face to face, to thank him and praise him and be in his presence for countless days. That's why I wanna go. Jesus will be there, I know. That's why I wanna go. With faith I see him standing waiting, with his arms open wide. I know it won't be very long now till my faith will end inside. I've never seen a jasper wall or gates made of pearl, and I know heaven's glory outshines this old world, but that's not why I wanna go. Jesus will be there, I know. That's why I wanna go. Jesus will be there, I know. That's why I wanna go.
That is Jamey and Rebecca Bagwell with That's Why I Want to Go. Awesome.
Thank you.
Those last two songs had it's kind of raw, they're very feeling songs. I just both of them have. I hadn't heard the last one yet, so that it's very touching. I like it.
Thank you.
We do a lot of songs, and mostly whether if we're playing in a bar or playing, another location, our faith is very important to us, and a lot of times we'll end our show with a lot of times an old hymn, like from the old hymnal from the church, and people love it, and so we do that, just because our faith is very important to us, and we enjoy singing those old songs. So.
Absolutely.
So we're right in the middle of our relaunch of WeP3 Radio. Would you guys have a problem with us posting your music in the radio station?
Well,
Not
that'd be
at all.
awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great. We have
Yeah.
one more too that we could send you, the fourth one that we didn't send. I could send you that fourth one if you wanted that one too.
100%. Yeah, we have over 105 veteran and first responder musicians from across the country that
Wow.
we do this radio and we love it. And there's no other radio station that has a compilation, a collaboration, and just the network of hardworking men and women that have had skin in the game. We throw some Patriot players in there. You can't do this without Coffee Anderson's Mr. Red, White, and Blue. And so that's and Lee Greenwood, you got to have him in there. And that's we make sure that there's some of our followers, some of our listeners that believe in this country and believe in the mission and the path. Now, don't get me wrong, we got to hear our Metallica, and I think Stephen John, one of our Marine musicians, was doing a cover of TLC. No, that's not.
Yeah. You know who I just came across too that we can't forget? We've run into one. Metal, stay metal Ray.
Stay Metal Ray, yeah. You guys, that's probably in your listening playlist. I'm pretty confident. No, he's
no. Nope. I bet there are a lot of younger, I don't know, not super young though. But it's screamo. It's a different type than what I was ready for it, but it was
and there's all kinds of listeners out there.
Yeah, he's just a regular. His name's actually Ray Charles. And so when you meet him, you might have a little preconceived, like, no, he's just your average guy who did a military stint, and then he does this screamo music. So, and we have a couple opera singers and some comedians that we'll have around too. So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite exciting.
Yeah, thank you.
I already made your folder. I just want to made your folder, so it's all ready to put the music in.
I'll send that fourth one over to you. I'll try to get that done tomorrow.
And you guys are always welcome to come and tell us what you're doing and make sure we stay connected. And don't leave after our closing comments. We'll do a little collab moment. And Miss Eichmann, you got anything in closing?
No, and just a reminder, next weekend's guests again are Jamey Bonetto and Rick Brown. What did I thought I wrote down a note. Well, let me think. What did I write down? We have a lot of notes, you guys. I don't know if I can keep. Oh, I know. Well, it's a long page that I've cut down even because our new guy was like, what is all this stuff? So no, just what's coming up. So we're looking already at August. Anybody out there who has people they think might be good on this show, because we do get some good recommendations. We do follow up. It doesn't always work out in schedules, but we do always follow up. So we have July full and we're working on August, September, October now. It kind of goes in waves. We're all booked up for a while and then everybody else is busy. There's a lot of holidays and that type of thing. So if anybody out there listening has ideas, go ahead and send those to us. On the 26th of August, we have an Operation Zero event at Veterans Lake of Ramsey where we will have our booth out there. And then and we aren't so far not bringing the music to that one, but we'll see. And then on the 9th of September, gosh dang, Peterson and I are going to try hard. I don't know, one or both of us will probably be in Nebraska, Ashland, Nebraska at Hero Stock 2023 with Jason Steiner. And man, they got a lot of good stuff. You probably haven't heard of this, but Jason was beeping around our show here and there. And we checked out Hero Stock, and then we actually had him on as a guest last weekend. He had 100 people. He had this gathering, and he had some music and booths and entertainment, and called it Heroes. Well, he called it Vet. Anyway, that's too used, and didn't have very many people there, and then had it again. I don't know. It's grown. He's had people tell him there's going to be like 2,500 people at this event. So he had to go get a bigger place. And so it's outdoor fun and activities, all in recognition of veterans and first responders. So we share a lot of music ideas because he has a lot of people in his Rolodex in the music world as well. So we're going to try on September 9th to get down there. Peterson and I teach, so making free time at the beginning of our school year is not super easy, but we'll see what happens.
We'll make it work. Jamey and Rebecca, do you guys have anything in closing?
Just feel free if you guys are around to come on over on July 29th for that grand opening over here from 11 to 4, 11 to 3, and not only music, but we'll have a food truck and an ice cream wagon for about a half hour and a couple of vendors. So it'll be fun.
Outstanding.
It sounds super fun.
Yeah, thanks again for having us today.
Yes,
We've been looking forward to this. We were Mark, when you responded to my, I don't remember, I think it was on a messenger, maybe whatever platform that was. You responded. We were actually in the truck, and I read that, and I said, "Hey, he wants to have us on the show." So we were so excited, and that's been a while ago, a couple of months, I think. But
well, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you felt comfortable. And again, we do get this out there, and we have a pretty amazing listening group, and we're just looking to build it and grow it and make it bigger and better, and get the word out that hey, all veterans and first responders, we got your back, man. That's what we do.
That's awesome. I appreciate the work you're doing.
Yeah. And so we'd like to get it in a one-stop shop scenario, just so that there's no confusion, and that it's a little bit easier to find the resources that they need. But we're working on all these pieces, and so we appreciate the time you guys took to be on here tonight. We appreciate the time that Mr. Scott McEwen took to be on here tonight, even though he had to leave earlier. I have a funny feeling we will see Mr. McEwen again. And thank you for everyone that came on and commented on the show tonight. Thank you for all the people that are working behind the scenes and making this happen. Again, happy Father's Day to all those amazing fathers that have done what you needed to do. We appreciate you. We appreciate the conversation, and we appreciate everyone that's been here tonight. And come check us out tomorrow at 4:30 for our weekly debrief, where you get to see all the pieces that are specifically about the People's Patriot Project. And then again, like Andrea said earlier, every Sunday we're here at 1800 Central Standard Time, bringing the best musicians and boots on the ground organizations covering America today. Thanks for all you're doing. We'll catch you when the smoke clears. Patriot Pride. This never goes as fast as I'd like.